East Newton girls track team here. Okay, not, but if we know, Scott may, just you?
Yeah.
You on the track team? There's something wrong here.
Yeah, you're a lot faster than that. No, we nominated the girls track team. Couple reasons. You know, it may not sound real fair. You know, okay, we nominated because they're talented, or you know, they won. You know, no. One of the reasons is, for one thing, they won a Big 8 championship that hadn't been done in 31 years. Then they turned around and won a district championship, which hadn't been done in the same 31 years. But the reason they won wasn't solely because of how fast they ran. Yes, that did help. But there was an inordinate number of girls that did something for the first time in those various races. Maybe they hadn't ever raced that certain race before, but they did it to try to get points. And so, you know, it was really a can-do attitude and a help-out attitude to get those points. And if anybody's ever ran before, unless it's the 100, you really don't want to run any other race because they're all long and they all hurt. You know, and you know, I think we had one girl that ran the 2 mile for the first time, or the mile for the first time. And you know, so lots of girls doing things that they didn't normally do to contribute for those championships. And I thought that was a really special thing, and you know, just very selfless to do. So you know, that was the reason we nominated them. So
Very good. And wish you the best of luck at sectionals this weekend, right?
Sectional Saturday at Eldon.
That's right.
Where at? Eldon.
And our next group is the Graham United Methodist Church, and I believe, Shannon, do you want to speak on behalf of them? And,
Sure,
and Shannon is a member of the East Newton United Board, and Shannon emailed me with the recommendation, and I ran with it because I thought I'm also a member of the board as well, and it was a great choice, so I'll turn it over
Yeah,
to
we
you.
just wanted to honor them and recognize them because anytime we have a need, we can call them up, or I email Heather, this is Heather Brown, and she jumps on it immediately. And we put out a call earlier this year for ramen noodles, and we said, you know, hey, we need someone that can step up and help us with the ramen noodles. This church on its own has provided almost all of the ramen noodles for every pack that we have provided this year, and we're up to about 165 packs weekly. And if we do an extended week, that's 2 packs per week, and this church alone has been able to provide that for us. So I thought that in itself was incredible. And then not only that, but they also host and house our coat and winter supply. So that is where, if you have coats and things, we have the community drop those items out there. They store those, they sort them, they open the church up to our members in the community that need those supplies, and they offer that for us as well. So we just could not do our program without them. We just felt like those were really, we needed to honor them and thank them. So
Thank you. If you don't mind, Matt, we'll get a picture with you and, okay, where you want to?
Picture?
You want a picture?
Scott, do you want a picture of girls track?
Right here would be great.
Oh, that wasn't funny.
thank you very much.
All right, you guys ready? 1, 3, 1, 2, and 3. That looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
So that was
your
a
help.
Scott.
Thank you.
Can we just zoom in on it?
What kind of model hands do you have?
Well, then Mandy, you need because it's not good. So come here forward.
Can we polish those real quick?
Quick buff.
All right.
That gnarly claw.
Manicure.
Need a motion?
Oasis.
Need a motion to approve or amend the agenda? You want any amendments, do we? I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? 7-0. Public comment? Did we have anybody sign up?
No.
Okay.
Approval of the consent agenda, which includes the minutes, bills, and Ramby Weeding log.
Here it is, if anybody wants to look at it, they get out some books and things.
Need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
I'll get a second.
Yeah.
Judy. 7-0.
Okay.
Program evaluations.
Okay,
Transportation.
transportation. Jason sent me this several weeks ago, and of course, it's in your packet as well, so. Robin had a question that we had answered earlier about buses, so any other questions on transportation?
This question was about the rotation?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's been a week ago.
While we're doing that, I just want to say that Jason and Scott do a really good job with the buses. They're just, they're pretty impressive guys.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, agreed.
I'll let you look at mine and just do that. And then I'll make you a copy.
Well, that was a quick evaluation.
That was Brooklyn. Go into
If you want to look through it.
library media?
Library media.
Okay.
And they're gonna do a video for us, I bet.
Do we have
A
a plan?
video, really?
Do we have any buses we're gonna replace this year?
None this year.
None this year.
There's the next
Oh.
one. Like I said, I'll make you copies of the
Your dog ate it?
Volume.
Yes.
And we're gonna do this one.
Technology.
We are library media specialists, right?
Exactly.
We are here as 3 individual library media specialists representing our individual libraries, but we have the realization that when we work together as a team, the students are the ones that benefit the most. So we do lots of things together and really couldn't do it without each other and springboarding ideas. This is a word cloud, and there are lots of ways to create word clouds. And if I can use some library terms with you, what you have in front of you, the program evaluation, would be the novel, and this is your picture book today. So we have a graphic for you that we actually copy and pasted every single word of that program evaluation into this word cloud generator, and it made this nice word cloud for us. This is also another word cloud that's made from a website called Wordle.net. And I want to draw your attention to this one. This is a special word cloud because not only does it just put all of the text in that we gave it, it actually recognizes when words are in the text more often. And the word itself gets bigger the more times that word is pasted. And we, of course, are all about our students, our program is, but we're very glad to see that not only that, but the word student is the largest word in our evaluation. And we didn't even plan that. That's just like awesome. We wanted to share that. So we felt this was valuable to share with you. And obviously library would also be a big word.
And basically, we work as a great team together. We support the Writers' Workshop, especially at the elementary levels. We each do the award books, the Missouri award books, and those are all listed there. We collaborate with classroom teachers. We go into their classrooms if they want us to, or we have them bring their students to us, whatever is feasible for them. Triway and Granby both host the book fair. As librarians, we are web page administrators, and we take care of that, putting pictures, changing information, getting information out there. We are also the first line and technical assistance when things go down. That's the other half of our day. We spend a lot of time doing that. We are also the first step in helping set up, when we do district-wide testing, we try to make sure that all the computers are ready to go, and so that we don't have a whole lot of glitches. We've tested them beforehand. We have a student tester account, and we do that sort of thing.
Oh, do you want to explain what they're going to see?
Oh, you're just going to see a short little video from each one of us because it's easier that way. No, it really wasn't easier. We did it over and over.
We're going to keep it small so you can also see the bullet points on this side as well.
The high school library. I hold a master's degree in educational technology with an emphasis in library science. The But it was 31 years ago that East Newton decided to make an investment in me. I was young back then, and so was Dirt. Highway, I've done 5th grade, 1st grade, library, and now for the last 11 years, I've been in the high school. We have a great, strong high school library program. We do some awesome things, but I couldn't do that without my partner, Carrie Patterson. She has 24 years of dedication in this district. Now, she, on the other hand, she's a little disgusting because she looks as young as some of the students. It's kind of like she fell into the fountain of youth, and I haven't even found it. Now, I'm not comfortable on this side of the camera. I'm not a fan of that at all, but what I am a fan of are the students of this district. And I would like to highlight some of the things that Carrie and I have accomplished together with this.
My name is Violet Markey. I met Theodore Finch the day I stood over the school's bell tower ledge. Little did I know I would fall in love with him. We made every moment we had together an adventure, and comforted each other as the world turns against us. Who saved who? Couldn't save my sister Eleanor the night on the bridge. But I can save him. He showed me places I'd never noticed, and showed me a whole new perspective on the world. Through both of our eyes, experience love that not only taught them to love others, but themselves as well. Read about it in Jennifer Niven's book, All the Bright Places. Oh, and don't forget the tissues.
Lisa Deffenbaugh. I'm the Triway librarian. I've been here for 11 years at Triway. I am a certified library media specialist, and we're really proud of our library. We've done a really good job of keeping things up to date and getting books that the kids really like to read. We've added graphic novels in the last several years. We've done a book club, and the video that you're going to see after this that shows pictures from book club, from book shopping events, show I think that the library really gets a lot of use and the kids really enjoy it.
What's in your head? Down nothing's promised. Don't let it pass. Don't get locked in. Everything's fine.
Whoops.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Turner, and I'm the librarian here at Granby Elementary. I have been at Granby for 18 years, and 11 of those in the classroom, and now 7 in the library. You can have confidence in my abilities as I am a certified library media specialist. I heard once that the library should be the living room of the school, and I strive really hard to make this library welcoming and a friendly atmosphere for all of our patrons.
In your packet, I think all of you should have a flyer that looks like this. We are all members of the Missouri Association of School Librarians, and we go to a conference every year. They do a really good job of promoting school libraries in Missouri, and so we're proud of that. They really help us do that, and they have provided this website, and if you go to that, there's more data and information than you've got in here. I think you can click on the learn more button. Some of their quotes that they have I think are really important to remember when you're thinking about school libraries. On the back of this are some really important quotes, I think. Missouri teachers' top 2 library wishes. Number 1, more time with their school librarians, and that's been really called collaboration. When the librarians really need to have time to work with the teachers and pull materials and try to help them teach certain things that they're trying to accomplish in the classroom. So we need time with that, which is why library aides are really important. So these are some quotes that might inspire you about libraries. And number 2 is more library funding to purchase books and other resources, including technology. We use our funds to purchase technology that students and teachers can use, as well as books and materials. So those funds go to a large variety of things, not just a few books. So we do appreciate the funding that we do get from the board, and it gets used virtually every year, all of it. So we do appreciate that and appreciate your support.
One other thing I would like to mention is this year, during professional development days, they even dedicated time where we could meet together, which just makes our team stronger. And we appreciate that.
Thank you.
You guys have questions? Good job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Next, evaluation.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
Federal programs.
And you would notice, with federal programs, I don't have anything exciting like a federal programs, that's just a lot of paperwork. So that's what you should have had in your packet. And it's the same story as what you've heard in the past few years. The funding just keeps going down. And even we went to, or Shelley and I went to a conference a couple weeks ago that was with the Missouri Department of Education. And they really don't even know, even the Missouri people at the top don't know what kind of money is going to come down from the federal government. I mean, they gave me a high and a low of what we may get this year, which is a difference of about $61,000, which, it's hard to plan. Do you have the $61,000 or do you not have the $61,000? So that makes it difficult. But for the past 7 years, we've consistently received 10% less than we did the previous year. And so that has considerably gone down. But they keep saying, We don't know what's gonna happen. No Child Left Behind has gone out. They've replaced that with a new program called the ESSA. Maybe more funding will be coming, so we just do what we can. Basically, as far as our title programs go, our biggest one is the Title 1A. Like I said, next year, we don't know exactly what that's going to be, but that's the largest fund that we receive. And we're hoping for about $400,000 on that. That fund's for the teachers that you see in the very first description. That also is the funding for the preschool programs at both schools, at Granby and Triway both, which has been a valuable addition to our program and our curriculum, is to be able to serve those 4-year-olds. You go through, you can see how many students are directly served with the Title 1A program. We have a full-time teacher at each campus, and plus a para at Granby, because there's a little more, the higher enrollment at Granby, so we have a supply of para there to assist the teacher. In reading, there were 110 kids directly served. In math, there were 93. Those kids come and go. Some kids might stay in the program the entire year. Some of them test in and out. Some of them might be in at the beginning. Then toward the end of the year, they need some help and they're back in the program. So that's a rotating schedule there. Title 1C, East Newton no longer receives Title 1C funds. And that's where we work with Mr. Darren Cook. He still, even though we don't receive the Title 1C funds, as a school, we are required to serve those children, of course, which is what we want to do. And, but we don't have the magic number. You can see our migrant needs have gone down in our amount of students. So we don't qualify for the funds, but we still serve those students and make sure that they're getting what they need. Title 2A is the classroom reduction program, and we fund a teacher's portion, a large portion, about 80% of a teacher's salary at Granby and a teacher's salary at Triway to make the class size smaller.
Will that continue next year?
Yes, yes.
We just don't know how much money.
Right, we don't know how much money. But that estimate's a little better than what the Title 1A is.
Any idea what that?
Help me out, I want to say it's about 80.
Well, previously it was in the 70s.
Okay.
So I would say it's probably going to be in the upper 60s.
Okay.
I'd say, yeah.
10% less.
Yeah, 10% less,
Right,
yeah.
there you go. And then the district comes in and supplements that to fund those two teachers, right? Picks up the end. Title III, again, that's the the LEP, the Limited English Proficient. Students, we don't have the magic number. We do not receive the Title III funds. But you can see that we still serve those students, and we are required as a district to, even once they qualify that they no longer need the direct instruction, we have them in a monitoring stage. And again, Mr. Cook takes care of that, and then there is one teacher that is hired to go between the districts, and they work together to serve those kids that need the help. Title 6B, no longer receiving Title 6B funds, believe it or not. Newton County's poverty level went down, as in there weren't as many people in the poverty level, which is a good thing as far as our county goes, but that means we no longer receive the Title 6B funds. We have to have a poverty level of above 20% to qualify for that.
And is that adjusted every year?
Yes, it is, and right now we're like at 19.3 or something. We missed it by this much.
Now, is money still out there on that
Yes.
one?
It is, yes. So come next year, we might possibly qualify for that again, but it wasn't a large amount either, but it, every little bit
Right.
helps. Not on my sheet, because it's not a for sure thing. Next year, there's talk estimates that we will be receiving a Title IV, and we're hoping possibly to use that money at our high school level, and because so far, we haven't funneled any title money toward the high school because of the requirements of each program. But we have found out that we can use Title IV at the high school level, and we're talking $11,000, not a big amount of money, but still, it can be very, very useful at the high school level. So we have no idea exactly what we're going to do. Mr. Charlton, you got any ideas off the top of your head?
Well, one thing we can use it for is some of our lower income students paying for some of their the national testing, ACT, AP tests. you know, we can pick up the cost for those on some of those students, so that would be some of the money it could be used for.
We have to keep in mind that anything that federal money is used for has to be supplemental. It can't be anything that the district is supposed to provide. Everything has to be supplemental, and so that's what we'll keep in mind. The program evaluation basically will stay the same, just adjusting with Mr. McCracken's direction. We've had to make some adjustments in our title staff, as in the past few years we've had a person that was called a technology coach, the teacher coach, the
Instructional technology specialist.
there we go. Yeah, there we go. And one to help out the media end of, and the other was to help improve math and reading scores, the reading specialist. And those positions have no longer been funded. So we've had to make some adjustments there. And, but that's just what we have to do when the money changes. The recommendation is that we will continue the program as described, with Dr. Mitchell being the federal programs coordinator, who will communicate with me, and Tammy Marshall, who's the title program supervisor. She's the teacher in the ranks that takes care of the actual program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
A+ program.
All right, with the A+ program, we had 38 seniors graduate with the program this year. So they went on, hopefully they'll use it. Some concerns or changes, if you would. Everything else is pretty much the same, but they have done away with the compass test. That was one of the qualifications is to get a proficient or advance on the EOC, and the compass was the alternative. They've done away with that. And now we have a combination of ACT math score and high school GPA as an alternative if they don't pass the EOC. Also, another change is dual credit. If they decide to take dual credit classes in high school, they have to maintain a GPA of 2.0 in order to qualify in the college, because right now it's just a high school GPA of 2.5, but a little bit different for a dual credit class, because it is a college class, it will count toward them. If they don't maintain that, though, they have a semester where they can go ahead and do a semester, but then the next semester they can regain their A+ qualification. And A+ has been expanded to non-public high schools. That may affect us in the future with funding for our students. And then a new legislation still pending is that instead of 3 consecutive years at an A+ school, they can do any 3 years at a designated A+ school. That might be good for our kids if they transfer in. So those are the main changes. Any questions?
If they fall out one semester, then,
Of college, that first semester?
yeah, so then they can still.
If they get their GPA up, yes, they can requalify.
Okay, what was your question?
If they fall out and fall into that
For the dual
GPA.
credit classes.
Okay, well, they're, and
How many
Qualify
hours?
the next semester.
They're out 2 semesters then, are they kind of out?
Yeah, the college deals with that part of
100
it.
hours. So tutoring, 100 hours unpaid tutoring. So it's 100 hours tutoring still then.
Do what?
I was gonna ask how many hours have you found it on there?
Oh, yes. And then, I guess the other paperwork, participation, 38% compared to last year was 39%, so we're staying about the same. Trying to increase, right now our numbers are a little increased in the lower levels, so hopefully they'll stay that way. And then the student demographics report are last year, seniors who qualified and where they're at right now. And then this year, we actually had 8 students who earned A+ honors. So I thought that was pretty good. And one of them even had 430 hours. Wow. So that, I included that because I thought that was amazing. And then the A+ agreement, I went ahead and included this. I kind of revamped this a little bit. It was like a brochure and the discipline was separate, so I put it all on one page. So when we send it to other schools, and we're going through 2 pages of materials.
430 hours. Wow.
So the, now the A plus only goes to a two-year school, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But
But I noticed this have,
some students who go to a four-year school, like Missouri Southern,
offers.
they give $1,000 scholarship.
No,
So
that helps.
depending on the school.
because there's several that went.
Mikey-
Every semester.
Mikey-
No, as long as they- as long as they
Mikey did
maintain-
when
yeah.
Bradford
Oh, no.
was transferred.
I think it's for four.
That's a good
Yeah,
rule.
that is.
They did for the first 2 years.
Most do.
$1,000 a year, so.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Need a motion to approve the program evaluation. And a second. All in favor? 7-0. Financial report.
Okay, financial report, show you, I don't think you got in the packet or not, but the cash flow for the month of April, started the balances for the month of April, 1.5, 2.1, and 191 for a grand total of a little about 4.1 million in all those funds. And then you have what was expended, revenues that came into those funds through the state and through some local. So we had just a little over $1 million that came into the district in revenues, and then our expenditures shows you in those two areas were obviously the largest part of that, and just a little bit over $1 million in expenditures. So the balances starting out in May will be these right here for a grand total of 4.1, and obviously this area right here is going to be large because you have to do your May, June, and July summer payroll. So once that gets completed, will be put out to zero. Very small, but again, this kind of shows you the overall as far as just basically what comes in the state revenues. And again, those are categorical payments. That's transportation, that's food service, that's title, that's Prop C, that's everything that comes in that's through the state payment. And again, I'm showing you here about kind of describing how much we rely on the state revenue. So in April, 85% of our revenue that came in was the state. Not all of the state, but predominantly state, because you got a little bit of local revenue, some tax money, less than $100,000 of tax money. So again, you're looking at your revenues and your expenditures, and you were $72,000 in the red. Again, if we remember, the reason that one was so high last month is you had your principal and interest on your bond payment. So, and then you've got your big bond issue, construction work in those months right there. So again, grand total, your expenditures are 13, your revenue are 11 million at this point in time. Break it down into Prop C revenue, just a little bit different graphic here. April, we received 105, Prop C last year 110. So the red line is this current year right now. Okay. Go to classroom trust money, what DESE designates and sets aside so that school districts know how much gaming money is coming in. So last year 46, this year 47, and your opposite, the blue line is this year. So just slightly ahead of that on classroom trust money. Going into enrollment and attendance, I went ahead and put May in this year because we finished school this week. So you're going to have a enrollment and attendance document for next month. So April, we had 1,336 overall students, and that's how much we're at each building. I know you're looking for attendance, right? And then May, 535, 393, and 406 for 1,333 is what we finished the year with. So that's what we started. That's what we finished. You get into April as far as attendance. Usually April attendance is better because you're map testing for basically the whole month. So 94, 95.3, 95.2. Sorry, high school. 94.6 total, and then May we finished up was 93, 93, 93, and then a 93.
93.8.
93.8?
Yeah, the high school.
93.8. Let's make that. Let's make sure that everybody knows that.
We call that domination.
You
accentuate the positive.
That's the first time all year.
So enrollment and attendance numbers for, again, April and May. Questions about enrollment attendance and financial report?
Hey, if you win by one, you win by one.
It still goes to the W column.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you, Todd, for the reports. Now, we did the rebid for the school water repair project.
Yep, I had 2 bids. I sent it out to 5 people, or 5 companies, got 2 back. Got Gold Mechanical, which bid on it last time, and this time it's a bid of $49,000. And then Midland Plumbing had a bid of $51,200.
And that was, reminding everybody, that was sealing everything.
Yeah.
We did
Putting
not
it
want
in
any
the wall.
exposed pipes, putting it in the wall, repairing a.
So that was that about where they were? I can't remember what they
It was
had.
at $36,000 last time.
And it's 49 now?
But he said it would cost extra.
Yeah, he said about, he was guesstimating that.
Right.
Yep.
Where they're both close to.
Yeah, they're both close.
And Gold.
That makes me feel good.
Gold did our work with our bond issue
Oh, they
at
did.
all the campuses. That's
Last time.
last
They did a
summer,
good job.
so they do a good job. So
Would you repeat those?
Yeah, $49,000 for Gold Mechanical, $51,200.
Okay, now that is covering everything up, no exposed pipes, going up to the ceiling, taking care of all of it.
That's what he's telling me. Yeah, that's what I put in there.
And the bid last time was for exposed pipes, and the cost on that was?
36. So I had him break it down, so his breakdown for, was 38,000 for just the pipe work, and then concrete demo and soaping back was 11,000.
And that's no PEX.
And that's no PEX, well, I'm not gonna say it's no PEX, it'll be copper 2-inch line probably all the way across. I don't think you're gonna be able to get copper down, they may have to use PEX to bend down
In the wall.
Yeah.
in the wall.
Well, I need a motion to accept one of these bids.
I move that we accept Gold Mechanical's bid.
Second.
Any discussion?
We had the money, we had the money a lot allocated for that.
yeah, it's
Out of the summer budget.
It's out of the summer budget. Of course, what that does, traditionally, what happens is Rusty had a list, and now this came along, that list went over to the side.
Short enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
it
three
got
things
short.
to be done.
Yeah,
Water leak.
yeah.
I don't think we have any options.
No, we
you got a
don't.
water leak.
It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Right.
The high school office may float away.
Well, we don't want the pipe showing, so this is, I mean,
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rusty. New business, we have a first reading of the 2017A policy updates.
No, it's the first reading, but just I'll go through these really quick, just to kind of refresh your memory of what they are referring to. One of these policies is school board vacancies, in case you had a school board vacancy. Suspension of professional staff members. This is a House bill legislation that was passed last year, so if anybody's been on any administrative leave, they are required, they must have a public hearing.
And what changes were made to those?
We didn't make any changes. These are, district-sponsored instructional options. This is referring to the graduation handbook that DESE has, and if you do any type of dual credit programs that are not post-secondary courses in which students are duly enrolled, the district will have to pay the tuition of those. So again, interdistrict transfers, which we have, and this is pertaining to Senate Bill 638 because of school districts being unaccredited. So that one will come. Personnel staff, again, the same thing with the that deals with the public hearing. Graduation requirements, CPR.
Yes.
And you're already doing that. Yep. So we've already hit this one. Got that. A+ schools program. Probably Tracy mentioned that already, so it's in there. And again, just a refresher, these are 2016 policies because we are behind. And so So I think, and then one of
It
the,
should be 17A.
they're 17A, but these are passed in 2016,
Okay.
that legislation, yeah. And references regarding Every Student Succeed Act, which Kathy referenced, and then non-renewal and termination of support staff, and information regarding that, and then inter-district transfers. And I believe the last one had to do with student records regarding ESSA and providing for recruiters, military recruiters, and things like that. So again, first reading, you guys can look over those, and probably might not be a bad idea to look to see if we can approve those at the next board meeting, because we've got, like I said, we've got the other ones, another set of policies to approve waiting in the on deck circle. Yeah. Right.
Okay, thank you. Summer trip 2018, Explore the Northwest US Tour.
All right, Mr. Schaefer is here, is going to present a little bit on that, so you can take hold of the PowerPoint there. Okay.
All right, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Les Schaefer. I teach 7th and 8th grade social studies at Granby. I kind of, every year I get flyers and pamphlets from all these different companies wanting to take kids on tours. This past fall, I took my wife and 2 children out to Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. Went out there for a marathon. And my kids just absolutely loved it. And I've been telling my kids as they come into my classroom day 1, 7th grade, that the world out there is huge. You can't even imagine. And in talking to my students, some of them have never been out of the 4-state region. I've got 1 or 2 every year that have never even been out of Missouri. And so I started looking at the ideas of taking them somewhere on a trip. I started talking to fellow teachers who take kids on trips every year. A friend of mine from Purdy, she actually is taking her kids to Australia and New Zealand this year. So it was one of those things, I just started looking at it, looked at different trips, Boston, Washington, D.C., New York City, Philadelphia, just different things that I could take these kids on to expose them to the world that many of them will probably never see. The company that I've kind of gone with is Explorica. They've been around for a little while. Off the top of my head, I don't remember how many years they've been around, but it's been a while. They were the cheapest and still had enough quality in order to make it a feasible trip for the kids. The trip that I've kind of settled on, what I did after speaking to Mr. McCracken, Mr. Kirby a little bit, I sent out I gave the flyer to any kids that wanted it. I listed the ideas that I had for the different trips that I wanted to take them on. Like I said, including Boston, New York, Philadelphia, DC, and then the kids brought back a half sheet with, their name, parents' name, contact number, and a list of places that they would like to go. What would be the most feasible for them? And the number one choice was New York among most of the students. I think that just about every sheet that I got back, and I got back about 20 of them, New York was the top choice of places to go. So I kind of settled on this. It's a 5-day, 4-night trip to Washington, D.C. and New York City. And I won't go too in-depth in the agenda, but flying kids out of Fayetteville, Arkansas Regional Airport, hit D.C. We have a tour guide who is the one that leads them, talks about all the different monuments, museums, things that we go to. Dinner, and then they do an evening tour of all the national monuments right there on the mall. Day 2, hit the Capitol building, the Supreme Court, head down to George Washington's home in Mount Vernon, which is about an hour south of D.C., and then back up, hit Arlington National Cemetery and the Iwo Jima Memorial. I'll get to see the changing of the guards. Day 3, have breakfast, go to the National Archives, and get to see the Constitution, Bill of Rights, head up to or see the Smithsonian museums. I don't know, there's so many, I can't even sit here and list them all, but hit all the museums, and then from there we'll travel to New York. All the transportation on this trip is covered by the company. They'll put them on a big tour bus and we'll drive up to New York. And then they'll go the Midtown walking tour, the Rockefeller Center, Trump Tower, Times Square, Grand Central Terminal, and then in the evening time we'll go to the Empire State Building. Day 4, take a boat out to Ellis Island, Statue of Liberty. and then we go to Lower Manhattan, get to see like the 9/11, Wall Street, and then the evening time after dinner, we get to take them to an actual Broadway show. The show is to be determined. I'm hoping I can get a say in that, but but I think the experience alone will be amazing for them. And then the last day, get a guided tour of Radio City Hall and then fly home. Cost of the trip is about $1,500 per student. And again, this is for the summer of 2018, so it's a year from now, giving students an opportunity to raise money, work for it, whatever they can. Currently, there is a $75 scholarship for any student who registers by the end of the month, which knocks that cost down to $14.25, and then there's a $50 deposit that they pay on it, and then they divide it up into equal payments between now and the time we take the actual trip. There is trip insurance available for whichever parent wants to purchase it. There are 2 different options for that, but if a student becomes sick, ill, injured, whatever, they can't make the trip, they get to the point where they can't afford it, then they can cancel, get their refund back. I don't handle any money, and that's kind of the benefit I like of this. I don't handle any money. I'm not going to deal with any fundraising, making the money, doing all that stuff. This is going to be solely on the parents and the kids to come up with it, and I understand that's a lot to ask a lot of kids, but at the same time, that's why I'm trying to get this going as far out as possible to give parents an opportunity. There is financial assistance available to some kids who will qualify for it. It varies based on the amount of income that they have, so I don't have an actual figure of what each kid would qualify. It's a case-by-case basis. Being the fact that we are traveling in 2018, most school districts will start their process, and this is actually coming from 3 different companies I spoke to, World Strides, Close Up, and Explorica. Most schools will start their process of taking trips in the fall, so the scholarships are available now because most schools haven't even started the process of going on a trip for next summer. And then if an adult actually wants to attend, it is a little bit more expensive. It's another $185. They upgrade some of the rooms to like twin size rooms, things like that. So it's a little bit more cost if like a parent wants to go along as not a chaperone for the trip. The trip is a 1 to 10 ratio, so for every 10 students that go, there's 1 free chaperone that gets to go along with it.
From the company?
No, from us. From us, yes. The company provides a tour guide and all the transportation, but the chaperone who's actually in charge of the students, like in this case would be myself, for every 10 kids we get 1 chaperone. And then if it's like if we have 16 kids, for example, to go, I can take a second chaperone at a cost of 40% of what it would cost an adult. So it's a little bit cheaper. The covered costs, airfare, bus, tour guide, hotel, breakfast, dinner, all excursions, their tickets, everything is all included. And evening hotel security, which I kind of enjoy this part because at nighttime I can go to my room and I can go to sleep and I don't have to worry about kids coming out of the rooms at night and running around doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Sneaking out, yeah.
There you kid.
Yeah, so.
Let me know how that turns out for you.
Well, I mean, years in the military, I'm a pretty light sleeper about a lot of things anyway, but there are chaperones that patrol the halls and keep the kids in their rooms at night, which is definitely a benefit. What's not covered is their lunches during the day and any snacks they want, souvenirs. So this trip, the $1,500 basically pays for everything that they're going to need. So far, I sent back the flyer. I got approximately 20 students back. I sent the flyer down to Triway. I didn't really get much response with them. I didn't get a chance to go down and talk to them either. But there is the opportunity for students to sign up as early as or as late as fall as well. The cost will be the same if I get a few students to register this month. I can get a price lock on our guaranteed price through the end of September if I get at least 3 students to sign up this month. I have the names of about 20 parents who are interested, and then upon approval I was going to contact them, set up a parent meeting, give them the same information, and let them start the process of letting their kids go on this trip. I'm offering it to current, as in not quite next year, current 7th and 8th grade students. So every year I'm going to open it up to outgoing 8th grade and outgoing 9th grade students. The reason I'm focusing on that is because those are the students coming out of American history and the students going into American history, and age-wise relatively similar maturity levels. And 7th graders just coming in are a little bit young, I think, and I think when you start talking about students going into their junior year that are going to start being a little bit too old for that kind of a group. So I was going to kind of stick it to outgoing 8th, outgoing 9th graders for this specific trip, and make it a rotating thing every single year, eligible for those students. Again, I understand the cost aspect. I mean, I myself plan on paying for my own son who's going into high school next year to go on this trip as well. He absolutely loved it. We went to DC. He figured out the metro. He was just absolute awe going into the National Archives, seeing the Constitution, all that stuff. It was an amazing trip for us. We had an absolute blast. We actually landed in DC, drove to Philadelphia the minute we got there, took him to the Rocky Stairs, Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, drove back down to DC, toured DC, ran the marathon, and went to the Marine Corps Museum. And it was an amazing trip, and I really like for other kids to get this experience. I think it would open up a lot of our kids' eyes to something that they just don't know. I think we have a lot of kids that are just stuck in Granby because their parents are here, their grandparents were here, and that's all they've ever known. They've never been anywhere else. And I want to try to open that up for them. And I would also like to start the process this fall for a 2019 trip for the Northeast for the same age group, outgoing 8th, outgoing 9th graders. So that gives parents even a longer opportunity, and then the possibility of taking high school students to Europe and China, which I already have price quotes on those that are good through the end of this year. It gives those parents an opportunity for 18 to 20 months of payments on that, and ultimately fundraising, things that need to be done for that. And I would like to make it a continuous cycle. Every year, just outgoing 8th, outgoing 9th graders, open it up for them to have an opportunity. It gives them over a year ahead of time to start paying on it, and make it as easy as possible for the parents to be able to afford something like this for their kids. Because I think it's a great gift for them. Does anybody have any questions for me?
So there's not a minimum number of students, so we send 2, that means 2 sign up.
If we send 2, then yeah, we can send 2, and I mean, I would pay 80% of my cost, but taking 2 to see something that they've never seen and never will see is worth it to me.
But then that company they have other people that fill those spots, or the students?
What it works is when we arrive, we'll be assigned like a tour guide, and that tour guide will have like 1 or 2 or 3 groups, maximum sizes based on how many people are in the group. But like he's gonna have, like maybe if I take 10 and there's another school that's got like 5 or 10, you know, then we'll combine together as one group, and we'll have one tour guide to fill in that tour.
Okay.
So, but that's how it works. We would be meeting along with other students from other school districts around the United States.
And there's not necessarily a chaperone in every room?
There's not going to be a chaperone in the rooms. It's going to be the kids in the rooms, which is again why I'm looking at older kids. But it'll be like when the kids go into their rooms at night, there are people in the hallway 24/7, all night. The whole time we're in the hotel, there are adults roaming the hallways, keeping kids in their rooms. So no, there's not going to be actual adults in each room.
You wouldn't want that.
Probably not.
2 kids per room, or are they?
Before.
Sometimes it just depends on the room, the amount of like males or females that we have on the trip comparatively. But yeah, they try to get big rooms. I know when I took a trip to DC when I was in college, we stayed at a hotel that like the one room where a bunch of the girls that were on the trip stayed in, it was like a room longer than this and it had like 6 beds in it. But I don't think they're going to put anything like that, but they're planning on double, tripling, whatever up in order to, maximize or basically minimize the cost, but, still have an efficient amount. So.
Do we have any policy, Mr. McCracken, on chaperone our trip? I thought.
Not exactly know exactly what it is as far as if it's rooms and things of this nature, but again, all you're wanting is just approval that you can start the process.
Advertise it in the school and start the process.
Yeah.
Now, are you asking us to approve this one, or you said ongoing, you want us to approve ongoing years, or?
No, it'd just be this one.
Well, for right now, this one, but I would like to make this an ongoing thing.
Okay.
It's something you can look at as far as the policy on the chaperones we could look at, but I'm not familiar.
My only thought would be,
Have how many?
I know they're in the
We
hallway.
had to have, if we were going somewhere, we had to have
Trying
a
to
female
sneak
with.
something,
Yeah.
you know, you get
Yeah,
three
but
girls
I wouldn't
together.
want to let those kids from either.
Well, I know Gracie was nominated for one, and they're gonna put, it's in Washington DC. And it's 4 girls, it's all girls, so it's 4. And, I mean, parents can go and stay in that hotel. It's not my parent. And it's,
There is an upgradable opportunity for parents that want to go,
Right.
and it splits a room.
Gracie was nominated.
Which is why a parent costs more, is because they're going to be they're going to have to basically get an extra room so that parent can have her kid or his or her kid in there with them. So it'd be one of those things where that's why the parent pays a little bit more if a non-chaperone parent goes.
Right.
But in this case, I mean, the trip like for next year would include me, and then my wife would be going, so I would have a female with me.
Okay.
If that's your concern about the female students.
Well, I would not
was
want to
taking-
put you in a bad position.
No.
Okay.
And my wife would be going with me whether I had to pay for her or not.
Yeah.
And so that way I have a female going along
Right.
with me too. I mean, unless for whatever reason I take 10 males, then
Right.
it's kind of not that big of a thing. But so no, she's planning on going with me too. I plan on paying for her if we don't have enough students for it. So.
I think there has to be a girl for girls and a boy for boys.
Yeah.
No, there will be a female chaperone. I said my wife will
Yeah.
be there. I mean, and if the outstanding chance that I get 30 or 40 kids go and I can take 3 or 4 chaperones, then
Right.
we'll start
grabbing.
looking at that point.
I need a motion to approve the summer trip for 2018.
Which one? The one that she-
What are you looking for?
Oh, I was trying to
I
find the
move that
name.
we accept the opportunity.
Second.
I can't think of the name of it. I think we need to check policy though and make sure we're good
With
on
the
everything.
chaperones.
Yeah, chaperone wise policy.
Yeah.
Boy and girl thing.
That doesn't have anything to do with the trip itself.
No.
It-
Right.
We need to get
Right, when we get
That's
closer, we
the,
can.
the logistics of, yeah,
devil's in the details thing.
yeah, right.
And there's a lot more details that, you know, obviously that will come out. I mean, it's kind of a preliminary thing. I haven't officially gone ahead and selected the tour to reserve it, to go through the whole process. Obviously, I was waiting on, you know, approval before I did that. The kids can get their own websites for their own fundraising, kind of like GoFundMe pages. It's a little different the way the guy described it to me, but there are opportunities for these kids, and I'd really like to seize it and take some.
You'll kind of keep us updated, what you find out and what's going
Oh,
on?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds like it's fun. Now, understanding launch.
Okay. About in the fall, Dr. Jungman, Superintendent of Springfield, began a discussion with superintendents in the Southwest Missouri area, basically talking about kind of getting ahead of the school choice issue that is kind of coming down the pikes as far as Governor Greitens and the whole school choice thing. So what was being discussed is Springfield School District already has online classes that they create. They actually employ people in a room to create the classes. They're the programmers, and then they have the teachers that will sit with the programmers and let them to understand. So they create basically a virtual school, okay, an online school. There's a school district around Kansas City, Park Hill. Park Hill has done this before, and I think this is probably where Dr. Jungman kind of got the idea. But anyway, to cut to the chase, is Launch is, instead of calling it Springfield Public Schools and taking classes, they have created Launch. They put a lot of money into creating this. So what this would do is this would allow our students to take courses online to receive credit at the various times that they could take those classes, and we would still be able to get 94% ADA for taking those classes. And you had mentioned Grandview. We have students right now that are in the high school that are taking classes from Grandview, which is a school district, and they're taking online classes, and Grandview's getting the ADA. So if we partnered with Launch and Springfield Public School District, then students that, let's say, take a smaller school district that doesn't have a physics teacher. They can go and they can get online and they would be able to take physics. And there's a load of high school courses. They're talking about junior high courses and various things like that.
What kind of a cost do we have?
It actually is $300 per half credit hour that we would pay, but we would get the 94% attendance or ADA for that, and they would get so we would pay. The other benefit to this, as I had mentioned before, I think in the board update, is homeschooling options, homebound options, things of this nature. So basically what Springfield is wanting right now, and they addressed the Southwest Center superintendents last week, is a kind of a memorandum of understanding, a memorandum of commitment, a one-time commitment, so that John can take this to his board next week and show his board that, hey, you got school districts in the area that are committed to this, that want to jump on board, that would be willing to participate in this, so that his board can go approve it and open it up to the school districts in Southwest Missouri. They financially, this is not a money-making thing for them. They're already in the hole with this because of what they're starting.
So this is not going to be a for-profit issue. This is this 300.
So how do we get the ADA then?
We create, like the child is taking a high school course, he's taking English 1 honors. We create the course code and enroll them in the course code, and they are liaison. Springfield School District puts Scott Charlton in the course. Scott Charlton's tied to East Newton, so they know that's an East Newton student.
Okay.
So, but again, the commitment for us is it would be $2,000, a one-time fee, billed in July or June, and then we're in. It's a one-time fee.
Then you pay the.
And then we may have one student next year that takes a half a credit and it's $300, but yet we get 94% of that ADA. Springfield even does it different. Dr. Dawson said that they've got one school that says, okay, if you're taking the online Algebra 1 class, you have to be at school. Across the town, the other school says, okay, if you're taking an online Algebra 1 class, don't show up until 9:30. So you got some that actually, he said, so it's all across the park, and you have kids, if they wanted to take the class, then we make them be on campus, or they can take it at leisure.
So what kind of classes right now are offered that we would utilize? What
we could utilize?
Is the situation?
I
think it's a good deal. I just don't know what classes.
English, you've got English 1 honors. You've got January 19 released contemporary literature. You've got U.S. History honors, World History honors. The other one, the biggie here is your AP courses. AP English Lit, Statistics, Calculus AB, Calculus BC, U.S. Government Politics, U.S. History, all AP courses that we don't offer. Art Foundations, Geometry, Algebra 2 we do, Trig.
Okay, now here's my next question. If we offer a class in geometry, could a student take that on their own then, or how would we?
Good question. That's my personal feeling on that. If we offer the class, the child needs to take it with our teachers, because then you're going to have that. I'm going to take it online. It's supposed to be easier, but they've done 5 years of research on this, and basically the rigor is spot on with that. But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Now, if it were a question of scheduling, where the kid just couldn't schedule, would we make an exception there?
Well, that's exactly what you bring up. Band is first hour. College algebra is first hour. Now, the kid can take band and take college algebra. It helps with scheduling.
Right.
So.
And somebody who's homeschooled.
Right.
And so how would the homeschool thing, what would that look like?
What that is if you have a child that's homeschooled and they go and they sign up for launch, launch is through East Newton.
Okay.
It goes through East Newton. They don't go out there and recruit them on your own. Okay, now you're a Springfield student. No, you're living in this East Newton district. You're funneled. Everything is funneled through East Newton.
Sounds like a win-win. I mean,
I think it's worth jumping on again. We may not have a student take it, but we may.
even if we had one.
It's an opportunity, right? And they're looking at junior high courses, but that's down the road, obviously, depending upon the commitments of the school district. So,
And they have the teachers committed to do it?
yeah, I think if you remember what I wrote to you, MOVIP, which we've had for years and years, MOVIP is Missouri, or teachers with Missouri certificates. Well, MOVIP, all the places that are out there are all out of state. So our money is going out of state, but these teachers hold Missouri license. So this is Missouri money staying in Missouri.
Right.
And that's one of the other things that was the selling point for it is, why are we taking our money and sending it to California or Florida, even though, so I think it's a good idea. It's something to jump on.
Dual credit option?
Do what?
Dual credit, anything that would be able to?
Not right now. They're high school classes. They're even looking at middle school courses as well.
I don't think they do dual credit because you have to be associated with a college.
Right. College.
Any of those teachers actually would be to be
Right.
able to,
Yeah.
you know.
But we don't know what the future looks like. I mean, that could change too. I think it's a good deal.
I do. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Do you need a motion on that, or what do we need?
Yep. Motion. Yep. Motion. I'll let you sign the document.
I move we sign up with launch.
All in favor? 7-0.
That's so they could do that.
She's been off for a while.
Okay, next item on the agenda, the TAP committee asked to be on the agenda to speak to us about the health insurance that was voted on last quarter.
And so I'd like to ask, I guess, because we're a committee, we have more than one speaker, if we can have more than the 3 minutes allotted or whatever the thing is, I don't know.
What kind of time frame are you thinking?
Maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
For each or just?
Just me, I'm the only one.
All right.
Is that okay?
5 minutes.
You wanna?
Okay.
Darren, just to hold to it, I'll have Tammy time, and I'll just give you a signal, not to rush or anything, just so you kind of know, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
First off, thank you for hearing from our TAB committee. All of you know me, Darren Cook, the Fairview 5-8 building counselor. I've worked in the district for 22 years, and today I represent our district teachers. I'm always so proud to be a Patriot because of our outstanding community members, faculty, staff, administration, board members, and especially our kids. We are truly blessed to live and work in this part of Newton County. This evening, we are here not to gripe, moan, complain, or to say we're being treated unreasonably. We do not feel that any of the board members have it out for the teachers. We understand that tough decisions have to be made at times, and we as teachers aren't always privy to information that you have, and we realize that money does not grow on trees. I do, however, want to let you know that we are basically here tonight to ask for you to consider continuing to pay our insurance next year at the same rate you paid for the 2016-2017 school year. For the past several years, our pay increases have been limited. While we certainly appreciate every increase we receive, we have still struggled, as have many of you, with the cost of living that continues to increase while our pay is not keeping up. Our raises have been greatly appreciated, but insurance has taken most of our raise every year. While insurance coverage is being lowered for us, we also hear of other districts who cover insurance at a much lower rate than East Newton. We are told that a certain district only covers $250 or $400 of the employee insurance. I don't doubt that this is true. On the other hand, however, we don't always hear about is the fact that many of those schools have either a higher starting salary, larger steps on the salary scale, or larger milestones that reward teachers for staying in the district and giving the students consistency in their education. One reason I was asked to speak to you was the fact that my family represents 3 categories of employees most adversely affected by the loss of $50 of insurance coverage that we had last year. There are at least 6 other couples who work in the district. For myself and my wife, who works as a paraprofessional in the Granby Library, we both will see our insurance costs increase by $77 a month next year. That is $154 a month for just us. We also have to pay an additional increase of $47 to cover our kids. This is a total increase of $201 per month, or $24.12 a year. So basically, I'm taking a $2,400 pay cut next year. While I realize some of this added cost would happen regardless of if the board chooses to cut back coverage, it would certainly lessen the blow if coverage stayed the same as this past year. Going backward a little is something we have unfortunately grown used to. Going backward this much is devastating and honestly has caused many people to reconsider working here, and this is not best for our kids. The second group my family represents are people who are non-certified or support staff. Most of the support staff makes much lower wages than the teachers do. They typically make less and have had hours cut by going to the 4-day work week. So they've been told that they can make up these hours and pick up more duties. Being able to make up hours to keep pay is certainly appreciated. However, most are working harder to make less with the insurance coverage being cut. Now they not only have to work harder to receive the same pay, but they have to come up with another $77 each month out of an already lower salary. This is very difficult for many of them. The third group that should be considered is teachers that have been working in the district a long time and are approaching retirement. I attended a pre-retirement meeting in March when looking down the road, the projections for retirement in our state were based on a 2.5% growth in salary and insurance for each of the next 5 years. Now with the current condition of cutting insurance coverage by $50 per month, my retirement benefits are actually, for the first time I can remember, going backward by about $600 next year. So at a time I should be building income, I'm going the wrong way. And because I've chosen to work at East Newton and not McDonald County or Neosho, my retirement will be thousands of dollars less each year for the rest of my life. I understand we're not a rich district. Please just don't make us go backward. Finally, I hope you can consider morale. Unfortunately, due to insurance cuts and other circumstances beyond our control, morale is at an all-time low. While it is the nature of teachers to be positive, upbeat, and optimistic, this situation is not helping with that. There's been an exodus recently of our teachers to other districts. I've heard a few other teachers already mention that they're waiting 1 year to see how things go before there's another exodus of our teachers. And I'm not saying this in a threatening manner. Please don't shoot the messenger. I'm just letting you know that restoring the extra $50 to the insurance coverage, making it once again $450 covered each month, would probably help with this. It is not good for our students to have a revolving door of teachers each new school year. Teachers lost confidence when told we would not take a pay cut by going to the 4-day school week and then having to come up with an average of $600 per year of insurance coverage and a $324 increase. $924 less a year feels like a major pay cut no matter how you slice it. As I mentioned before, for some it is much more. In summary, I think most teachers in our district believe that all of you are pro-teacher and on our side. Some voted to leave the insurance at $450 covered for our employees, and the teachers really appreciated that. And we realize that people who voted to reduce our coverage are also trying to do what is best for our district and to save our district money. We know everyone wants to have a great district regardless and wants the best for all. We may just disagree on how to get there. We have 2 simple requests. 1 is please call for a revote on the teacher insurance coverage, and 2, please vote to restore the coverage to $450 per month. We realize that not everything can be covered and we will need to pick up some of the coverage. Please just don't make us go backward from the coverage that was provided last year. I also realize that often when addressing a problem, we are asked to offer solutions. From a financial standpoint, that is not our job this time. As I mentioned before, we are not privy to all the financial decisions that have to be made, nor do we wish to be. We want to educate the kids. We are sure that any and all decisions are tough with a limited budget. No one wants to have to make those decisions. Whoops. But we are hopeful that you can make a decision that helps to keep quality teachers in our district and our teachers as a priority, as they always have been in the past. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for allowing us extra time.
And that was the last thing on the agenda. We thank all the public for coming to our board meeting. And we need a motion to adjourn and go to closed session.
I'll move. Go to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
7.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Night, library ladies. Thank you all. You did a great job. Great presentation.
Bye, Shannon.
Bye, Ms. Brewster. Tell Jay bye.